You can work hard, want to change, and still keep hitting the same wall because of what you believe. Not necessarily what you say out loud, but what you quietly accept as true. Too late in life, too old, too busy, too far gone. Ever say any of those before? I mean, those beliefs, they can shape your body, your choices, and your future without even noticing. I find a lot of people keep trying to change habits. I know I was one of them, while you're still protecting the beliefs that created those habits. And we wonder why progress feels shaky or short lived. What I personally had to learn is that growth doesn't start when you find a better plan. And man, I was always looking for a better plan. Growth when I stopped Growth happened when I stopped agreeing with the story that was limiting me. And that was really, really huge. That is a big awareness. So before we get into all this great stuff today, if you are in that place where you're tired of doing the work without seeing a deeper shift that you want, head over to talktoperry.com. I'm going to drop that in the lower third if you're watching here on YouTube. If you're in the audio version, talktoperry.com. Pretty easy to remember. And let's look at the belief underneath the pattern and build a way forward that matches the life that you actually want to live. Talktoperry.com is where that's at. So I'm going to share a bunch of beliefs with you that I still have to challenge. They'll still come up. One belief that I had to stop carrying was that change had to wait for a better season. You ever use that? You know, when the better time, when life settles down. And the belief sounds reasonable. Life gets busy, your energy's off, stress is high. Maybe the timing is not ideal. Maybe you don't have the money to invest in whatever that goal is. The problem is that if you keep handing change to like a future season, the future keeps moving. It always stays out there in the future. So I realized that. I'm like, why am I keeping my goal out in the future? I'm never going to reach it. Another belief is that I had to stop carrying was struggle means stop. Like a hard, busy week, a rough patch, even a setback. That used to feel like proof that I was on the wrong path and that I needed to stop or at least start over. What I learned from growth is growth often gets clearer in the middle of the friction. I know it's not always fun, but that's where the growth is happening. So difficulty doesn't always mean that you're off course. Sometimes it means you're finally getting into the real work. I don't know if you've ever noticed that before. Another thing I had to stop believing. I had to stop believing that I needed the perfect mood and the motivation to move forward, especially with workouts. That one keeps a lot of people stuck. They keep waiting for more energy, stronger motivation, or a more inspired version of themselves. And real progress gets stronger once you stop making action depend on emotion. I don't know if you tied that, emotion or motivation, it's the same thing. It is an emotion. Here's another belief that I really had to let go of was the idea that the past has the final word. We often bring up the past a lot, not necessarily consciously, but subconsciously would do it. A lot of people keep using yesterday as evidence of what tomorrow has to be. I've always done this. We look back at past failures, old traps, old stops, starts, that start and stop cycle, old weight gain, old habits, and we decide that the future will probably look the same because we've just gotten so good at practicing that old thinking. So that belief, it quietly trains the body to expect repetition instead of change. I had to stop believing that being hard on myself was helping me grow. Just got to do it. You kind of mentally beat yourself up. Maybe that's not you. It's probably just me, right? But I really had to give that up. I also had to stop believing that the old identity deserved so much loyalty. If you see yourself as the person who always sabotages, always falls off course, always gets overwhelmed, always quits, something always happens, then every setback that you have is going to be proof. The belief comes first, then the behavior lines up with it. That's why changing the story, it matters so much. One of the biggest shifts for me, it really came when I started asking a better question. Something like, instead of saying, what do I need to do or what plan do I need to follow? I started asking, what do I need to stop believing? That big one, what did I need to stop believing? Was that it's too late in life for me to get in shape. This is 20 some odd years ago when I was thinking that, but that's where I was. That one question, it really gets underneath the surface habit. It helps you see the filter that keeps turning your good intentions and your good choices into something that's unrealistic. And once the belief gets exposed, you can challenge it. Is this actually true? Is it still true? Where did I learn this, right? Did it ever deserve the type of authority that I've been giving it? Those sort of things, you'll probably laugh at it, but you're like, wow, why am I saying it's too late in life for me? Now, I had evidence around me that a lot of other people that were out of shape, overweight, overwhelmed, they're a little bit older, they're kind of giving me evidence, but I'm like, where did I learn that? You start asking, is this helping me build the life I want or keeping me loyal to the one that I've outgrown? Growth gets stronger when the new belief gets practiced. Now, you can't just talk a good game once and then everything will be totally fine moving forward. You've got to practice it. So you start just challenging the words that you're saying and you start flipping the script. I can change in this season. I can act without needing to be motivated. A setback doesn't define me. My body is worth supporting now. Those are better agreements with yourself. And that's actually what growth became for me. A change in agreement. I stopped agreeing with the old limits, old excuses, and really the story that my future has to keep matching my past. And I started moving forward with a totally different agreement. I hope this was helpful. You've got this, my friend. I'd love to hear your top takeaway from today. You can drop those down in the comments. I promise I will reply. You absolutely rock, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week. That's another Power Blast podcast in the books. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, when you are ready to recharge your battery, make sure you go to talktoperry.com. That's talktoperry.com. That's Perry. And I want to listen. I want to hear, what's going on. I want to help you in that 15-minute call to recharge your battery and reclaim your power so that you're off and running and creating massive momentum toward your dream. Also, every day I am delivering more motivation, support, tips, and strategies inside my free community with amazing people like yourself. And we are conquering the mindset and the fitness. I do 52 weeks of free training in there. Plus, I coach and I mentor people, as well as give you access to tons of resources and guides. It's called my Upside Down Fitness Community because we work on a lot of mindset stuff, the inside stuff. And we're a fun group of people striving to make healthier habits in this awesome chapter of life. So make sure you get in there. I promise you'll absolutely love it. Just head over to upsidedownfit.com and you can get into the group. And hey, you would be an awesome friend if you get over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave an honest rating and review for the Power Blast podcast. It helps awesome people like you find the show even faster, and that's who I'm looking for, awesome people like you. That's all I have for this week, my friend, and just to let you know, you absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you on the next Power Blast podcast, and always remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.